Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Today I'm taking you through all of the changes with armor and weapons as part of 1.3. This is the PTB, so some things may still change before the update comes live for everyone on the 13th. Look out, I'll have a big massive video with all the changes of every part of the update, and that will capture anything they adjust. But right now it looks like a lot of the armor sets have been buffed, some have been changed, and there's a huge ton of buffs for weapons. I have gone over the elemental changes now, how you've got more combo finishers. Go and watch that video if you want to see more. But effectively upgrade them to level 6 and you get nice new buffs with the elemental stuff. But there were some changes to some of the other weapons, in particular the arm sets. So, as I've been saying to you, they've been making grounded easier, and that applies to a lot of the early game armors to help more. Clover armor has some new bonuses, tenderfoot defense. Effectively, it's going to increase your defense against tier 1 creatures. Go ahead and wear all 3 pieces and you'll now get a trickle regen benefit. This is a great move. For too long the Clover armor set just really hasn't been that worth it. Especially now that we've got the cozy system where you obviously get your food and water reduced, the usage of it at home. There just wasn't enough benefit of having the Clover armor running around the map just to save on a little bit of water. So it only applies to tier 1 creatures. You'll take a little bit less damage from them. Next we've got the grub armor sets. Now these have got more damage against tier 1 creatures, so pretty much the opposite, the counter, but it also reduces the time it takes for stamina to start regenerating. This is pretty good considering it's a medium armor set as well. This almost feels like it's going a bit more tanky, dealing more damage, having more stamina to keep swinging. That's what you get with the set bonus, reduce the time it takes for stamina to restart regenerating. Now there's been no changes to the actual effects of the acorn armor, but what has changed is how you craft them. It's now encouraging you to go over to the hedge, because normally you've got acorn shells, might fuzz and crude rope to craft, but now for the chest piece you're going to need berry chunks, so that means you've got to go over to the hedge and explore a little bit, and for the legs you're going to need some algae. This is a great move. You could argue that some people don't want to go anywhere near the hedge until they've got something heavy duty like acorn armor, compared to the rest of the armors in the tier 1 series. Now the clover and obviously the grub armor's been buffed, it shouldn't be so much harder. Black ant armor has probably had one of the biggest buffs. Timing is unreal. Literally in my 100 days continue series, my little let's plays have been doing, I realised I hadn't crafted the black armor set because I've always known it was just a bit crap. Comparatively, by the time you get to it, you might have already got yourself some tier 3 armor, or you've just got better armor sets that you've been upgrading. So it kind of got neglected. Well, with the addition and bonus of basically thorns damage from meals and other sources, it's now got even more benefits for the armor. The pincushion effect, which is basically thorns, will double the amount of damage to enemies when they hit you. And that's been increased with other sources as well. So if you eat some sort of food that's got thorns damage with it, and any other buffs that you might be able to get hold of, you could do some serious damage to creatures if they attack you now. So let's test it out. That would be good if it was an enemy that actually attacked me, if not acid. So you can see it's still maybe not a huge amount of damage with something like an orb weaver. I definitely think you still need to combine this with a lot of other thorns damage abilities to really make the most out of it. But definitely it will help hopefully with some of the bigger creatures if you do miss a block. So moving on to the other sets, we've got the Black Widow set that's had some changes, and this is a great one as well. Instead of you getting a small speed boost when you kill something, you'll now get a health trickle as well as an attack speed increased on kill. So I could see this being particularly good for taking on multiple enemies, being able to really ramp up and make more. You can see it's both popped up now, and it replens the health a stupidly seriously amount. That is crazy amount of regen. That would also be great for maybe farming the broodmother, taking on all the smaller adds. Honestly, that feels almost unstoppable if you went into the fire rant hill. Just getting constant health regen from killing creatures and getting even more attack damage. To possibly balance that, they have made the armor pieces now all have the same amount of defense and resistance. Part of that does mean though that all of the effects that you get from Black Widow, they've been balanced so they all have the same value. I'm guessing one of them was a bit more OP than the other. So poison damage will be flat base damage and it'll be equal across all three. The two Broodmother sets have also had changes. Both of them have had increased DR, i.e. damage resistance. Both have increased durability, but RIP, both of them are now heavy armor. Sure, the moldy one was maybe a medium. There's no changes to any of the effects, it's simply just that for the regular Broodmother set. Definitely the moldy set has had the most buffs or changes, especially when you're using obviously the blaster. Explosive stun is gone. Now we've got something called Big Boom. Explosive attacks have a chance to provide a stacking crit damage buff. I do believe the max for this is 50. And they've also changed the buff that you get once you've upgraded it. The Dynamite buff, explosives apply debuff to enemies, reducing their explosive resistance. This has actually been nerfed. It looks like they've changed it and reduced it to half. But you will have more chance of this triggering or proccing, so basically getting even more damage out of it. And in general, explosive attacks have a chance to provide a stacking crit damage buff. So obviously when you're using the blaster, then yeah, you could set off huge explosions now. But that obviously works with any explosive weapons, so bomb arrows and regular rat burst or splat burst. And nearly forgot, but there is one more change, and that's to do with aphid slippers. When you upgrade now, you're going to get something called Aphid Kid. And effectively, it means aphids won't run away from you anymore. It does seem a little bit useless. I would say I reckon this one could do with a change already. I guess maybe for going and stealing the aphid trinket off of it, it might be good. Especially if you capture a few of them in a certain spot. You can just keep coming back to it and farming it. But otherwise, you're at this point pretty adept at catching aphids. You really need extra time to go and get one. Flip side of that could be, I reckon they should extend it to taming and getting pets. What if upgrading this with the aphid slippers meant that you were guaranteed to get your pet tamed and you wouldn't have to actually be a distance away sometimes, as it can still be a bit buggy when taming creatures, or that's always been the intention that you have to kind of be a little bit away. So yeah, please devs, if you're watching, extend it to all of the pets, that they won't run away from you when you're trying to tame them, and that they tame really quick and easy. So that's pretty much it for the armour. Now let's look at the weapons. Both the Pinch Whacker and the Prod Smacker have been improved. The Prod Smacker is just a general improvement in the amount of damage. The Pinch Whacker, they've added the free combo rule to it now. Instead of just a random chance of maybe getting shock damage appear, it should trigger every time you get that third hit in. And that puts it in line with the new trinket that you can get, which I've already shown you guys how to get. This is a great move. Definitely makes again this weapon worth staying with and upgrading all the way through. A whole bunch of weapons are now available to go ahead and use in water. I mean, some of them have always been able to be used in water, but now you'll get more effects. So the Rusty Spear now applies infection to enemies underwater. And of course there's no diving bell spider in sight when I want to show something off. Let's try it on this poor water guy. Okay, maybe not. Here we go. And there you go, you can see the infections on. The Tiger Mosquito can be used now, as well as the regular mosquito. And both daggers now go ahead and poison creatures underwater. Particularly good obviously for the water fleas, the angry ones in the upper pond. And the Widow dagger especially has had a change. No longer does it apply poison damage, it will apply venom. So one sort of concern with obviously the Widow dagger, it does venom damage now. So how is that going to proc with your armors? Venom should be stronger than poison. I'm pretty sure it takes away a lot more health, especially when I've been hit by something with it. I went and checked some of the stats on the wiki, and it does look like venom is pretty much the same as regular poison. So I'm using obviously the spider dagger here from the Black Widow, and then I went and swapped over for a regular spider dagger. I only hit once, and you can see the health pool on that one here is pretty much identical. I can only assume the benefit is that now you've got a venom weapon, for creatures that are usually resistant to poison, they will take that damage now. That's definitely one I'm going to wait until the game files are gone through and data mined before giving you a more definitive answer in future. But so far it looks to be the same. Hopefully you've seen also my other videos as well talking about some of the changes to weapons in general. But two-handed axes and swords now both actually move faster. They've got new animations as well for some of them. Effectively it's 20% faster now to use them. On top of that as well, clubs also have had a small speed boost. They're now 15% quicker to use. And last bit of trivia from the patch notes, if you go ahead and throw your weapon, don't panic if you forget about it for 4 days. Items, dropped items at least, will no longer despawn. A few last things as well to note, that things that do lifesteal, like the mosquito needles and the tip it only applies to attacks made by those specific weapons. So I don't think you can massively lifesteal proc-genning any other effects with that anymore. That seemed to be a bug that was happening. Also a bug with rough reload, not actually reducing the amount of stamina usage you have. It should now delay your stamina regen if you do hit it. And just a reminder that now when you go ahead and upgrade down the elemental path, it will still receive the same damage boost as mighty, so you won't kind of lose out anymore. Because in previous times, it's always felt like most of the weapons, you're always better off going up the mighty upgrade path. The whole idea of mighty is that it's meant to be for more casual players who don't want to min-max with different weapons for each individual bug. They can know they can just go straight up mighty and always get a little bit extra damage. But that did make so many of the elemental weapons kind of weak. Obviously the ones that you upgrade yourself. So now it puts them hopefully a bit more in line and worthwhile for min-maxers to also really benefit from having elemental upgrades instead of mighty. As said, if there's any more significant changes to these armors and weapons before the full update hits, I'll have that info changed when you get the big massive recap video I'm working on. For now it seems like all good changes. I can't really see too many complaints. Certainly buffs for lots of the weapons and making the easier early game experience a bit different as well. Let me know if there's anything you wanted change in this update, and go and watch out some of the other videos I've already done on some more of the changes to other parts of the game. Until next time, ratbags, laters!